Arno also stopped attacking and looked at Jojo in surprise. How dare this guy say such a thing? Aren't you afraid that I'll agree on the surface but betray you behind your back? Could he have a special method in this aspect? A tiny human lord wants me to surrender? I won't betray my country. Don't even think about it. Arno said coldly. The actual reason was that her family was still in the capital of the Ice Ghost Kingdom. If she dared to surrender, once the news spread, her family in the capital would definitely not survive. Moreover, this Lord of the Blazing Sun should really have methods to restrict those who surrendered. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said such words. Since that was the case, she would not waste her energy doing that. Jojo looked at her. With his advanced telepathy, he could vaguely sense that the other party seemed to have some concerns. You can tell me if you have any concerns, Jojo said. He still did not want to give up on this legendary tier hero of the people of foreign race in front of him. You seem to think you have me in your pockets? Arno grinned. Then, she flipped her right hand and a random teleportation scroll appeared in her hand. She immediately communicated with the random teleportation scroll with its spirit, wanting to use the random teleportation scroll to teleport millions of kilometers away. When the time comes, even if the King of the Blazing Sun wanted to chase after her, he would definitely not be able to catch up to her in a short period of time. She could completely return to the Ice Demon Kingdom safely and inform His Majesty of the news of this battle. From there, His Majesty would understand more of the King of the Blazing Sun's methods and prepare for the next war. However, in the next second, her face froze. What's going on? Why is there no reaction from the random teleportation scroll? She cried out. How can such a ridiculous thing happen? At this moment, she suddenly felt something and turned her head stiffly to the side. She saw a pitch-black spatial rift the length of an arm floating beside her. There was a faint blink of lightning in the deepest part of it. Under the influence of this spatial crack, ripples appeared in the surrounding space. It was as if a rock had been smashed into the calm water. When Arno saw this, her already ice-blue face turned even paler. How could she not know? It was precisely because this spatial crack disturbed the space and made it unstable that the random teleportation scroll in her hand failed. She looked at Jojo and realized that Jojo was also smiling at her. Then, he said something that made her completely despair. None of you will escape. Still not surrendering? Arno was silent for a moment before shaking her head. Just kill me. She closed her eyes. Jojo felt that it was a pity. Then, he casually summoned a chaos spear and pierced through the other party's heart, destroying her vitality. A text notification appeared. You have killed the legendary tier elementary grade Ice Blood Ghost Spike Arno. You have received plus 4 billion promotion energy. Loots condensed. Blessing of the War God. You have obtained an additional 320 billion promotion energy points. You have obtained your first hero biography. Please work hard to obtain more hero biographies and forge your own hero fate level slot. Boom! The surging promotion energy poured into Jojo's body like the Milky Way. Jojo felt that he was getting closer and closer to the epic tier stage. Finally, rumble. There was almost no obstruction. Jojo broke through the bottleneck of the epic tier realm and reached the low epic tier elementary grade. I'm finally at the epic tier, Jojo lamented. Ever since he had the epic tier Lord Talent Blessing of the War God, he felt that his advancement speed was as fast as a cheat. It had only been a few days. He himself had advanced from Diamond tier advanced grade to epic tier elementary grade. It was unbelievable just thinking about it. After calming down, Jojo looked at Arno, who was already dead, and shook his head regretfully. Then he took out the loots. Lord Talent notification. Your loots have been enhanced by the King of Loots. Perfect loots. Grade +1. Title hint. Your loots have been affected by the title of the strongest lord. The number of loots has increased by 150%. Lord Talent notification. You've obtained perfect loots, 50 divine crystal fragments, low-level deity tier elementary grade, 3 vampires hidden thorn hero skill books, low-level deity tier elementary grade, 3 ice vampire king body hero skill books, low-level deity tier elementary grade, 3 spatial concealment divine spark fragments, mid-level deity tier elementary grade. 3 ice demon god sacrificial dagger equipment, low-level deity tier elementary grade. 3 ice demon god sacrificial robes, low-level deity tier elementary grade. 3 copies of random teleportation scrolls, mid-level deity tier elementary grade. 1 copy of Book of the God Spirit, low-level deity tier elementary grade. 1 secret manuals of the hero inheritance, low-level deity tier elementary grade. 20 Lord Talent crystal fragments, green bronze tier. When Jojo saw the loots, he could not help but smile. A legendary tier elementary grade hero from the people of foreign races actually dropped a set of divine equipment. Perhaps only a super lord talent like the King of Loots could do such a ridiculous thing. He first looked at the battlefield and realized that his subordinates could basically deal with the remaining 6 heroes. He then ignored them and began to check the loots. Needless to say, there was no need to talk about divine crystals. Vampire's Hidden Thorn and Ice Vampire King Body were hero skill books. One was an assassin's attack type hero skill, while the other was a hero skill that strengthened the body. Jojo took a look and retracted his gaze. He planned to reward it to Baiyun, Wu Xian, and the other heroes. Whoever wanted to learn it could directly spend military merits to learn it. Then, he looked at a divine spark fragment of spatial concealment and chose to learn it. After experiencing part of the experience of a low-level god spirit of the god of space and concealment, he successfully comprehended the law skill spatial concealment. Law skill name, spatial concealment, law skill quality, low-level deity tier elementary grade, law skill introduction. The user can control the power of the laws and escape into space. They can temporarily stay in the interlayer of space and spatial turbulence for a short period of time and restrain their auras. The living beings who have mastered the spatial concealment can ignore weak spatial influence. Jojo looked at this law skill and nodded slightly. This law skill was quite practical, since the drop rate of monsters was too low on the high continent, so actually, there were many methods that could affect space. Basically, powerful life forms would master 1 or 2 abilities to affect space to prevent enemies from escaping through space or using spatial treasures. This was the greatest value of spatial concealment. For example, Arno, the hero of the people of foreign race. If it mastered the spatial concealment law skill, it might be able to ignore the world fissure created by Jojo and escape into space. That would really cause some trouble for Jojo. Fortunately, it did not know such methods. Otherwise, Jojo would have missed out on its godly outfit. Then, he looked at the next loots. Divine Artifact Name, Ice Demon Sacrificial Dagger, Divine Artifact Grade, Low-Level Deity Tier Elementary Grade, Divine Artifact Law Skill, Sacrificing God. Prompt, it can be bound to the soul. Divine Artifact Name, Ice Demon Sacrificial Robe, Divine Artifact Grade, Low-Level Deity Tier Elementary Grade, Divine Artifact Law, Worshipping God. Sacrifice the divine crystals to the Ice Demon Sacrificial Robe. Every 10 divine crystals can release a God Spirit Ice Attribute Law Defense skill of the same level. Prompt, it can be bound to the soul. Sacrifice type Divine Artifact. It costs divine crystals to use it? Jojo had a strange expression. To him, this type of law skill was not very useful, nor was insignificant. As a chaos human, the chaotic origin energy in his body could naturally replace divine power to cast law skills or activate divine artifacts, which meant, even if he didn't have this divine sacrifice function, he could still use a God Spirit level law skill or unleash the normal power of a divine artifact. That was something even the original spirit race, who also had divine power, could not do. In reality, it was a weakened version of pseudo-divine power at best. It was incomparable to ordinary divine power. Not only was this pseudo-divine power unable to activate the full power of the divine artifact, it could only unleash a portion of its power. Even the power of law skills was inferior to the power of law skills used by God spirits. As a chaos human, he could unleash the normal power of law skills and divine artifacts. This was also the advantage of the chaos humans. And because of that, Jojo did not need the method of sacrifice to a God Spirit to use law skill attack skills and defense skills at the God Spirit level. When he thought of this, He put these 6 divine artifacts into his imperial treasure box. Then he looked at the next loots. Treasure name, random teleportation scroll, treasure grade, mid-level deity tier elementary grade, treasure effect. Use your spiritual power to activate the random teleportation scroll. It can immediately teleport the user 10 billion kilometers away. If the user's teleportation location is within 100 million kilometers, you can perform directional teleportation. Treasure description. A random teleportation scroll created by a spatial god spirit. There's no danger in using it. You don't have to worry about being randomly teleported underground or other dangerous places. It's a good escape treasure. Randomly teleported 10 billion kilometers away? Directional teleportation can be carried out within 100 million kilometers? What a treasure! Jojo put it away with a smile. Then he looked at the Book of the God Spirit. Treasure name, Book of the God Spirit, treasure grade. Low-level deity tier elementary grade, treasure effect. The mythical book that recorded the ice demon god, Ba Yi's path to becoming a god. After using it, you can embark on the road to becoming the ice demon god. Treasure description. Book of God inheritance. After using it, you can walk on a smooth path to becoming a god. But whether you can really become a god in the end depends on the user himself. Ice demon god Ba Yi. Could it be a god spirit from the ice demon kingdom? TSK Tisk. I wonder how the ice demon kingdom will feel when they find out that the divine inheritance of their race has fallen into my hands. Jojo thought with a strange expression. Jojo thought for a moment and decided not to reward the Book of the God Spirit to his subordinates. Instead, he put it away. The next loots would be this low-level deity elementary grade hero inheritance manual. Treasure name, Hero Inheritance Secret Manual, grade. Low-level deity elementary grade, treasure ability. You can obtain the heroic inheritance of the Ice Spike King, Ba Yi, after using it. Introduction. I am the Ice Demon God and also the King of Assassins. Ice Spike King. Bai Zhou stroked his chin and looked at the secret manuals of the hero inheritance. The low-level deity elementary grade hero inheritance was already considered a very precious inheritance. It was rare even among humans. He thought for a moment and also put it into his spatial ring. He would reward this hero inheritance secret manual and Book of the God Spirit to his subordinates who performed well in war in the future. As for rewarding Bai Yun, Wu Xian, and the others, Jojo had this thought, but he quickly rejected it. The level of these 2 treasures was a little low. Jojo felt that he could not use them to restrict his veterans general's future. They were not like Suin. His potential was extremely high, and his future would not be restricted by the temporary inheritance of the god spirits. Even though Bai Yun, Wu Xian, and the others' aptitudes had been improved by the sword of Shen Yuan, the Sun Moon Star Sword, their potential was actually only average. Like Bai Yun, her aptitude was only at the low-level deity advanced grade. Wu Xian's was even lower, only at legendary tier advanced grade. Once they accept the god spirit inheritance, they might be stuck at the level of the god spirit inheritance for the rest of their lives. Jojo still had feelings for the veteran generals. Even if they really wanted to choose a Book of the God Spirit in the future to determine their future limit, Jojo had to get them a few high-level books. This way, even if there was a gap between the generals in the future, the gap would not be too big. No matter what, Jojo wanted to give them at least a high-level deity-level Book of the God Spirit. Jojo continued to look at the battlefield in front of him. After the death of the Ice Blood Ghost Spike, Arno, the remaining 4 heroes clearly panicked. In addition, they gradually realized that they could not defeat Jojo's heroic subordinates, so they also thought of escaping. However, just as they took out the random teleportation scroll and activated it to escape, their expressions changed. This was because they had actually discovered that this low-level teleportation scroll was actually unable to allow them to open a spatial passageway to escape. Jojo smiled. He had already disturbed the space around them through the world fissure. It was impossible for this group of people of foreign races to escape with the help of a random teleportation scroll. Surrender and I won't kill you, Jojo said calmly, seeing that the time was about right. His voice spread to the ears of every hero of the people of foreign race with the help of the chaotic origin energy. I surrender. I'm willing to surrender. Don't kill me. Spare me. I'm willing to surrender. I surrender too. Hearing this voice, the four heroes of the people of foreign race who had been almost beaten to death by Qi Shentian, Suen, and the others immediately said hurriedly. Qi Shentian, Suen, and the others also stopped. I'll announce now that you've joined the Blazing Sun Kingdom and become a subject of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, Zhou said again. The heroes of the people of foreign races did not dare to raise any objections and immediately did as Zhou said. After they did as Zhou said, a strange feeling affected their will. Then, when they looked at Zhou again, almost all their bad thoughts were gone. There was only reverence and loyalty in their eyes. When Zhou saw this, his expression did not change at all. Come on. Let's return to the Blazing Sun Kingdom and continue the founding ceremony. There should still be time, Zhou said calmly. Yes, Your Majesty. Everyone and the heroes of the people of foreign race who had just surrendered said respectfully. Zhou nodded. Then he turned around and flew in the direction of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. The others and the people of foreign races followed. In the Blazing Sun Kingdom, at the venue of the founding ceremony, Zhou sat upright on the throne in the Emperor Dragon robe and looked upon the soldiers and guests who were entering the venue one after another. Among them, the Titan King, Fens, and Li Yuangan were both here. At this moment, they were sitting below and chatting happily with their surrounding friends. There was no communication between them. They were even very cold towards each other. They were mortal enemies with each other when they were in the Titan Kingdom and the Aurora Kingdom after all. This attitude was too normal. At this moment, Zhang Yuanqi walked over. Your Majesty, we have 3 important guests, he whispered. Who? Zhou was stunned. Zhang Yuanqi whispered into Zhou's ear. When Zhou heard this, an obvious surprise appeared on his face, followed by surprise. Take me there. Zhou stood up and said. Your Majesty, please follow me. After saying that, Zhang Yuanqi led Zhou to a hall at the side. In the hall, when Zhou arrived, he saw 3 figures standing in the hall. 2 of the figures were wearing black robes and emitted a terrifying vengeful spirit aura. They were the King of Eternal Silence and his wife, whom he had not seen for a long time. The other person had sharp ears, long blood-red hair, and a strange, beautiful blood-colored pattern on his face. She had a graceful figure. She was wearing blood-colored light armor and carrying an exquisite blood-colored bow on her back. She looked like she was intertwined by blood and fire, and there was war and misfortune around her. However, at the same time, she exuded a soul-stirring beauty. Zhou looked at her and his gaze also softened. Long time no see, Nadia, Zhou lamented. This person was Nadia, the first-generation Bloodfire Arrow Elf who had bonded with Zhou because of the time ruins and then revived from the dead. Nadia smiled. Then, she looked at Zhou and could not help but say, however, even though it hasn't been long, it really feels like a long time. At that time, you were only a lord who had just arrived in the High Continent. Now, you have already established a kingdom and become the king of a country. Zhou smiled and did not say anything. He was indeed developing very quickly. There was nothing to be humble about. He looked at the King of Eternal Silence and apologized. I'm sorry. This hero of the Elven Empire and I are old friends who have not seen each other for a long time. So we chatted a little more and neglected the 2 of you. It's fine. You didn't actually talk much. You're the protagonist today, and we're not in a hurry. If you have more to talk about, you can talk for a while. The King of Eternal Silence smiled and said. The more it and its Queen of Eternal Silence looked at the new king in front of it, the more shocked they felt. When they first met Zhou, he was just an ant in their eyes. He even needed their help to escape from the enemy then. How much time has passed? The unfamiliar and familiar human in front of them actually made their hearts skip a beat. The vengeful spirit couple looked at each other and saw the surprise and disbelief in each other's eyes. However, both of them were vengeful spirits with noble qualities. Even though they were puzzled, they did not ask further. Didn't the 2 of you seal yourselves in the sandstorm forbidden land? Why did you suddenly emerge? Zhou asked doubtfully. It's naturally because of you as our new neighbor, and you are familiar to us. So we came over to take a look and celebrate your new kingdom. The King of Eternal Silence explained. There was another reason he did not reveal. That was, this new king was suspected to be related to the mysterious caravan. They had benefited greatly from the previous transaction with the mysterious caravan, so they came over because of this reason. Jojo nodded. He had a guess as to the real reason why they had come personally. However, he did not say it out loud. He chuckled and chatted with them. The King of Eternal Silence and his wife flipped their right hands, and a jade box appeared as they chatted. This is a congratulatory gift from our Kingdom of Eternal Silence to your blazing sun kingdom. I hope it catches your eye. The King of Eternal Silence smiled and said, You're too kind. Jojo said politely. Then he took the jade box and looked at it. Magic scroll name, Hero Projection, Magic Grade, Legendary Tier Advanced Grade, Magic Effect. Open the scroll and summon 2 vengeful spirit projections of the King of Eternal Silence and the Queen of Eternal Silence with the strength of a Legendary Tier Advanced Grade. They will fight for the King of the Blazing Sun. The duration of the vengeful spirit projection is 1 hour. Number of summons. March 3rd. Treasure description. A magic scroll specially created by the King of Eternal Silence and the Queen of Eternal Silence to celebrate the founding of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Jojo was a little surprised. Then, a smile appeared on his face. I like this gift very much. Thank you for worrying about me. He smiled. He really liked this scroll. Being able to summon the King of Eternal Silence and his wife 3 times was equivalent to summoning 6 legendary tier experts to fight for him. This was already a pretty good congratulatory gift. As long as you like it. When the King of Eternal Silence and his wife saw that the smile on Jojo's face was not fake, a smile appeared on their faces. When Nadia saw this, she also took out a green gift box. This is a congratulatory gift specially sent by the Empress of our Elven Empire, she said. As soon as these words were spoken, Jojo and the King of Eternal Silence looked at Nadia. Lord Elven Empress? The only original elf in the world. The King of Eternal Silence could not help but ask. Nadia nodded. The King of Eternal Silence and his wife were secretly shocked. Even though they had lived underground for a long time, they had their own channels to obtain information from the outside world. Therefore, they knew very well how powerful the Elven Empress was. It was said that this original Elven Empress was the candidate with the greatest hope of promoting their Empire-level Lord faction to a Divine Kingdom-level Lord faction among so many generations of Elven Empire kings. They did not expect the human lord in front of them was actually related to that existence. The other party even took the initiative to give him gifts. At this moment, Jojo's status in their hearts increased even more. Jojo was also a little surprised that the Elven Empress would notice him and was even more curious about the gift given to him by this Empress. He waved his right hand and got someone to bring the green gift box over. He opened it and saw a leaf with mysterious green patterns and emitted a faint green fluorescence lying quietly in the gift box. Jojo took a deep breath. He felt a large amount of life force surge into his body. Even though he was a chaos human, he felt his spirit suddenly rejuvenate. Jojo looked over in surprise. Treasure name, Holy Leaf of the Elven Mother Tree. Treasure grade, True God Tier Elementary Grade. Treasure effect, keep it on your body and you can block 1 fatal damage for your main body. When the wearer suffers injuries below the True God Tier level, it can quickly recover to a healthy state for a short period of time. Treasure description, the Holy Leaf of the Elven Mother Tree, containing majestic life essence. Jojo's eyes lit up when he saw the effect of the Elven Mother Tree. What a treasure! This effect was almost equivalent to a resurrection opportunity. As expected of the Empress of the Elven Empire, she was so generous. When you get back, thank your Majesty for me. I like this gift very much. Jojo smiled and put it away. Nadia smiled and nodded. The 4 of them chatted for a while. Then, Jojo smiled and said, Everyone, it's getting late. It's almost time for me to appear. Let's go participate in the ceremony first. It was the founding ceremony today, so he naturally could not spend all his time with them. Sure. The king of eternal silence, his wife, and Nadia nodded in agreement. Then, the three of them left and walked towards the venue. For the rest of the time, Zhou participated in the founding ceremony. During this process, the fixed procedure of the military parade was naturally unavoidable. When heroes like Bai Yun, Wu Xian, Qi Shentian, Suin, Guoqiao, and many dragons appeared, even though all the guests present had long understood and were mentally prepared, they were still stunned by this scene. How is this like a newly established beginner kingdom? In terms of the number of heroes, I'm afraid they have surpassed even that of an intermediate kingdom. The king of eternal silence looked at the heroes and could not help but sigh. I didn't expect that the brat who still needed us to save back then had actually grown to the point of being able to stand shoulder to shoulder with us. The queen of eternal silence also sighed. Standing shoulder to shoulder with us? I think it's more than that. Don't forget, this is only a ceremony to showcase his strength. With this new king's past experiences, he's definitely not stupid enough to show his full strength. This king of the blazing sun is probably hiding a huge force in the dark. Of course, this is just my guess. The king of eternal silence said. The queen of eternal silence nodded. We've sealed ourselves underground for too long. How long has it been since we've seen such a grand occasion? She whispered. Take a closer look. We'll go back tonight. The king of eternal silence grabbed the queen of eternal silence's hand and said gently and firmly. It was impossible for him to make the kingdom of eternal silence reappear just because of the queen's request. Otherwise, the undead army of the kingdom of eternal silence would definitely bring a disaster to the main world and even misfortune to his neighbor, the king of the blazing sun. The existence of the kingdom of eternal silence was a sin they had personally caused. In order to seal this sin, they would not hesitate even if they had to be suppressed underground forever. They had already been wrong once. They could not make another mistake. The queen of eternal silence pursed her lips and looked at the magnificent scene in front of her. Crystal tears subconsciously fell from the corners of her eyes. On the other side, Nadia, the first Bloodfire Arrow elf, could not help but feel shocked after watching the military parade. How did he do it? He actually saved up such a fortune in such a short period of time. No wonder Her Majesty values Zhou so much. From the military parade just now, Zhou indeed has the potential to be valued. Nadia thought to herself. She came this time to celebrate Zhou's establishment of the kingdom. Secondly, she wanted to convey the Empress's kindness. Thirdly, she wanted to see how the Zhou kingdom was doing for the Empress before returning to report the truth. This was naturally not a leak. The founding ceremony was held under the attention of tens of thousands of people after all. What it displayed was not a secret. The reason why the Empress specially instructed her to report the situation of Zhou's kingdom truthfully was she wanted to invest in Zhou. Actually, the original Elven Empress had wanted to invest in Zhou previously. However, at that time, Zhou was only an ordinary lord of all races. Even though he later obtained the title and status of the strongest novice lord and was even noticed by the Supreme Resistance, it could not change the fact that he was still not even a kingdom-level lord. Due to the Supreme Agreement, even as the Empress of the Elven Empire, she could not interfere too much. However, now that Zhou had established the beginner kingdom and become a lord of a kingdom-level lord faction, even though such a faction was still not worth mentioning in the eyes of the Elven Empire, it had already reached the point where they could barely talk. The Elven Empire could also carry out some hidden help and investments. As for how much to invest and how to invest, it would depend on how Nadia reported when she returned this time. Nadia did not think too much about it. She naturally decided to report truthfully when she returned. She did not dare to hide or exaggerate. The Empress was not an ordinary person. She could tell at a glance if she was telling the truth. Moreover, Zhou was indeed developing extremely well. Therefore, reporting it truthfully was the best choice. As the person with the deepest relationship with Zhou, she was naturally in charge of the contact and investment work after that. Thinking of the future, she would have more contact with Zhou in the future. Nadia could not help but smile beautifully. making the surrounding guests lose their minds. "Are you, Sister Nadia?" At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded in her ear. Nadia was stunned. She turned around and saw a valiant female general standing beside her. She was wearing casual clothes, making her look both heroic and feminine. "You are the second-generation blood-fire arrow elf Bayun?" Nadia stood up and looked at Bayun in surprise. Bayun nodded. "Can I sit beside you?" Bayun asked. "Of course." Nadia immediately nodded. Due to the aura of the beauty and the status of the empire, no one in a radius of 2 to 3 seats dared to sit there. Bayun smiled and sat down. Nadia felt the other party's aura and was a little surprised. High-level Wood Elves bloodline? She remembered that when she first became a hero, her bloodline was only that of a normal Wood Elves. Logically speaking, the bloodline obtained by the inheritor should be that of a normal Wood Elves. Could it be that she had obtained an opportunity to increase the level of her bloodline? Nadia thought to herself. Such opportunities that could increase one's bloodline were often very rare. She had only transformed her Wood Elves bloodline into the Fire and Blood Elves bloodline after the Empire paid a huge price. This extremely rare composite bloodline was only one level higher than the high-level Wood Elves bloodline. She did not hide her doubts and asked curiously. She also said that she could choose not to tell her if it was inconvenient. "There's nothing inconvenient. His Majesty helped me upgrade it with special methods previously." Bayun smiled. Nadia nodded as expected. She did sense a faint aura of high-level Wood Elves from Jojo. At this moment, Jojo was even more mysterious in Nadia's eyes. "You've already made your own path?" Nadia observed for a few more seconds before saying in surprise again. She had forged her own path. This meant that the hero in front of her was no longer restricted by the hero inheritance. Her future could be said to be immeasurable. Bai smiled and nodded. Nadia admired her even more. The two of them started chatting again. Perhaps it was because they were both female heroes and also had the title of Bloodfire Arrow Elf. The two of them no longer felt distant as they chatted, as if they were good friends who had known each other for many years. The founding ceremony lasted from the morning to a little past 4 in the afternoon. Not long after it ended, the King of Eternal Silence, his wife, and Nadia bade farewell and left. Jojo tried to persuade them to stay. Seeing that they really had something to do, he did not stop them. He sent them out of the Blazing Sun Kingdom and borrowed their 2 starry knights to go to their respective destinations. After the founding ceremony ended, Zhang Yuanqi and the others also had their own positions. The official position system of the Blazing Sun Kingdom was based on the 9th grade official position system of the High Continent. Jojo had no objections. The official position system in the High Continent had been developed for tens of thousands of years. Even though Jojo was confident in the official position system of the Cerulean planet, he was not confident enough to ignore everything. Moreover, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. The Cerulean planet's methods might not be useful on the High Continent. Among them, as the deputy city lord of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, Zhang Yuanqi handled government affairs for the Blazing Sun Kingdom. There was no problem with his qualifications or ability. He was naturally the first-grade prime minister of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Bayun, Nazario, and the other legion commanders of the 4 legions took on the responsibility of a first-grade great general of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. As for the heroes, they would take on the position of the kingdom guardian of the Blazing Sun Kingdom according to their strength and hero slots. Zhao Chongshou was the construction official of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. At the same time, he was the president of the Blazing Sun Kingdom's Architecture Association and enjoyed a second-grade official position. As for the other lifestyle professionals and combat professionals, they had also arranged their positions. As for the palace of the Blazing Sun Kingdom, it was naturally the intermediate grade lord's paradise. His intermediate grade lord's paradise was extremely huge. It was not a problem for them to host more than 1 million people at the same time, so it was naturally not a problem for them to take on the responsibility of the palace. As for the place to deal with politics, it was arranged in the administrative hall of the capital. The administrative hall was also huge, so it was not difficult to carve out a place in the palace that had been modified to deal with political matters. Moreover, The administrative hall was also the place where officials dealt with government affairs on a daily basis. This would also make it easier to convey and resolve government affairs. The flag of the blazing sun kingdom was set against the background of the endless and deep sea of stars, and in the upper left corner was a dazzling white sun. In other words, it was the image of endless sea of stars support the sun, and the sun will bestow upon the stars. The sun naturally referred to the blazing sun of the blazing sun kingdom. As for the endless sea of stars, it referred to the future of the blazing sun kingdom. The blazing sun kingdom wanted to expand its territory to the endless sea of stars, or even the endless heavens. As for the matters of the other kingdoms, they were also arranged in the announcements of the conferences behind the founding ceremony. As the new king, Zhou naturally participated in the entire process. He was not unfamiliar with this after mastering the emperor's heart technique. Instead, he was quite familiar with it. In some places, it was even more perfect than Zhang Yuanqi's methods. This made all the ministers who witnessed it sigh. Their emperor was really a natural emperor. After everything was done, Zhou was about to return to his room when Zhao Changshu found him. "Your Majesty, the god of death statue has been built, and a guardian of death was born in our territory almost at the same time," Zhao Changshu said. When he mentioned the guardian of death, he also looked very surprised. Clearly, he did not expect it to happen so quickly. Zhou was also very surprised. "Let's go take a look." "Yes, Your Majesty." The two of them walked towards the god of death statue. In front of the god of death statue, a young man in white was looking up at the 100-meter-tall statue. This one held a god of death scythe and was covered in a black cloak, looking mysterious and dignified. "Is this the spokesperson of death, god of death, His Excellency Thanatos?" Zhang An muttered. He was originally a young man with congenital necrosis. Even the many doctors and clergymen in the territory were helpless against this terminal illness. His family had used all kinds of methods to help him. They had even spent a huge amount of contributions to buy a kingdom-level combat class from the Violent Storm Spirit from the Treasure Vault to change his profession to the Violent Storm Spirit and comprehend extraordinary power. However, it proved to be useless. According to the immortal divine medicine doctor Lu Kaier, the only way to resolve his terminal illness was to let his strength reach the diamond tier and comprehend the complete professional skill of the Violent Storm Spirit, the wind and thunder elemental body. From there, he could completely transform himself into an elemental constitution. This could solve his congenital necrosis problem. However, there was a problem. After completely transforming into the wind and thunder elemental body, he could not return to his human form and could only live in the world as an elemental. Even though this method had a huge drawback, they chose to try it in order to let Zhang An live. However, his body could not withstand high-intensity battles. Even if he insisted on killing monsters every day, coupled with the help of the Master God Tier's blessing of the War God, his extremely low killing efficiency could not support him to reach the Diamond Tier before he died. His family and friends were in despair facing this problem. However, not only did Zhang An not care, but he also cherished his relatives and friends even more and did many things for them. In the end, he could not withstand the invasion of his illness and died on the hospital bed today. But not long after, he opened his eyes again, his family dumbfounded. Then he realized, not only was he healthy, but he also had the power of an Empire-level combat class called the Guardian of Death other than the Kingdom-level combat class, the Violent Storm Spirit. He had shockingly become a dual profession holder. At the same time, he understood some of the Guardian of Death's class abilities and some death-related matters and secrets. He knew that the Guardian of Death he had was not given to him by the God of Death. Instead, it was given by the Law of Death. The Law of Death admired his attitude towards death, so it gave him new life and the power of the Guardian of Death. Then, he followed his senses and arrived here after appeasing his family and friends who had experienced great sorrow and joy. He saw the God of Death statue that had just been built. What a rich power of the Law of Death! Zhang An felt it again and clicked his tongue. "You can feel the Law of Death?" At this moment, a gentle and curious voice suddenly came from behind him. Zhang An was shocked. He turned around and saw the surprised Zhou and Zhao Changshu. Your Majesty? Uncle Zhao. Zhang En was shocked and immediately bowed. No need to be so polite. Is what you said true? Can you really feel the power of the law of death? Zhou Zhou checked the young man's attribute information as he asked curiously. What surprised him was that the young man in front of him was not only a Diamond-tier elementary grade violent storm spirit professionals, but also a Diamond-tier elementary grade guardian of death. A dual profession holder. This was extremely rare among the trillions of life forms in the High Continent. He only had 3 professions because of his Lord talent. The young man in front of him did not have his Lord talent. He continued reading. This young man's talent was actually at the true God-tier elementary grade. Moreover, there was a special talent in this young man's skill list. Talent. Blessing of the law of death. Talent effect. The talent and potential of the person blessed by the law of death will increase greatly. At the same time, his comprehension of the law of death will be comparable to a high-level bloodline life form with a death-type constitution. After reading it, Zhou Zhou could not help but look at the young man in surprise. Good God! A preliminary god spirit. This child might not be inferior to that brat Xiao Xian in the future as long as he grows up. Moreover, this is a talent of the law of death. Once he becomes a god spirit of the law of death, his combat strength will also be quite terrifying. Zhou Zhou thought to himself. Then, he thought of another situation. Every guardian of death would receive the blessing of the law of death. If that was the case, the value of this god of death statue was immeasurable. He tried to ask the child. In the end, Zhang En said uncertainly, I don't know either, but I don't think it's like that. He didn't want to deliberately elevate himself, but his intuition, which came from the profession of guardian of death, told him that his talent was only a coincidence. If the other guardians of death wanted the blessing of the law on him, it would probably depend on their mood. Zhou Zhou nodded slightly. Even though it was a pity, he was not too disappointed. This was actually within his expectations. If the god of death statue really had that heaven-defying miraculous effect, the Nether Bark Kingdom would not have been so easily breached by him. Then Zhou Zhou and Zhang En chatted for a while. With his high-level telepathy, he quickly knew that the young man in front of him was quite kind and filial. In this chaotic war world, this quality could be said to be quite rare. It also made Zhou Zhou value him even more. Are you willing to accept my nurturing and work for me and the Blazing Sun Kingdom? Zhou Zhou looked at him and asked seriously. Can I really do it? When Zhang En heard this, he was first very excited, then a little terrified and hesitant. Of course. Your potential and personality are worthy of being nurtured by my country. However, don't be arrogant because of your favor. Work hard to improve yourself and let me see your improvement. Only then will the resources I invest in you in the future not be in vain. If this young man did not work hard to advance after accepting his resources, but he also relaxed and slacked off, he would not nurture him diligently because of his potential aptitude. There was not much else in his territory, just a whole lot of talents and experts. He would not feel that it was too much of a pity not to nurture a person with high potential with 2 professions. I accept. Thank you, Your Majesty. I will definitely work hard and not disappoint Your Majesty. When Zhang En heard this, he pondered for a moment and said seriously. Originally, he was a little confused after being reborn and did not know what to do in the future. But at this moment, His Majesty's words gave him a clear path. Moreover, he did not refuse to serve His Majesty. Most of the things he had came from His Majesty after all. Even this life came from the god of death statue designated by His Majesty. Therefore, it was not an exaggeration to say that His Majesty had saved his life. Moreover, His Majesty was a virtuous monarch praised by the subjects in the territory. He was the object of worship of countless subjects. Countless subjects scrambled to serve His Majesty, and he was naturally no exception. Now that such a precious opportunity had finally descended from the sky, he was naturally unwilling to let it go. Zhou Zhou nodded. Uncle Zhao, I'll tell the Prime Minister later. Let's say that this young man called Zhang En will be specially nurtured by the Blazing Sun Kingdom in the future. The treatment will be the same as Xiao Xian's. Zhou Zhou turned to Zhao Changshu and said, Zhao Chengshou looked at Zhang En in surprise. Good God! Xiao Xian was young, had a lively personality, and had extremely high potential. He could even lead people to search for treasures. He had a status and treatment that could be said to be a national treasure in the Blazing Sun Kingdom. He did not expect this young man in front of him to receive such a status after talking to His Majesty. Really, a fortune that fell from the sky. Zhao Chengshou sighed. Yes, Your Majesty. I'll go now. Zhao Chengshou said respectfully and turned to leave. Zhang En was also a little stunned. He naturally knew about Xiao Xian, the strongest young prodigy in the Blazing Sun Kingdom, the child king in the eyes of countless children. He did not expect that he would actually jump to a figure like Xiao Xian after being reborn. He was a little terrified, but also a little excited and expectant. Zhou Zhou smiled and chatted with him for a while before leaving. In the intermediate grade lord's paradise, Zhou Zhou received a notification from the marketplace as soon as he returned. He opened the marketplace and looked over. As expected, the 100 million skill books and 200 million pieces of equipment had already been sold. Trade result: 1006, 050, 315, 135 black iron tier mist cores. Zhou Zhou looked at the astonishing number of mist cores and smiled. There were more than 1 trillion black iron tier mist cores. In other words, there were more than 10,000 legendary tier mist cores. Its value was not enough to make up for the price of buying the original Spirit Race bloodline, since he had spent 14,000 legendary tier mist cores to buy the bloodline of the original Spirit Race after all. However, he had at least recovered more than half of his capital. He was very satisfied. Then, he put these mist cores into his heavenly mist treasure bag. After transforming them into legendary tier mist cores, he took out another item. This was a heart that emitted chaotic light. It looked like heavy metal was contaminated. However, this was the only bloodline loot he had obtained from dealing with the heroes of the people of foreign races today. Bloodline name: 10,000 Gu Royal Bloodline, Bloodline level. Legendary tier advanced grade, Bloodline effect. After absorbing it, the user can obtain the bloodline of the 1,000 venomous worm race. After fusing with this bloodline, the user will gradually awaken the bloodline ability of the 1,000 venomous worm race during their growth. Prompt 1. Fuse 1,000 sets of legendary tier advanced grade bloodlines, and you can obtain 1 advanced grade high god tier advanced grade. 10,000 Gu Insect Royal Bloodline. 10,000 Gu Insect Royal Bloodline. Zhou Zhou sized up the heart. This bloodline was originally only the bloodline of an epic tier advanced grade. Later on, after the quality of his loots increased by 1, it directly became this 10,000 Gu Insect Royal Bloodline. I wonder how much a legendary tier advanced grade bloodline can increase my original Spirit Race bloodline? Zhou Zhou thought. He did not think too much about it and chose to absorb it. You have absorbed 1 portion of the 10,000 Gu King Race, legendary tier advanced grade. You have absorbed 1 portion of the 10,000 Gu King Race, legendary tier advanced grade. Your 6 senses have been slightly strengthened. You have awakened the legendary tier advanced grade King of all Gu talent, King of Gu poison body. You have awakened the legendary tier advanced grade 10,000 Gu royal talent, legendary tier toxin immunity. You have awakened the legendary tier advanced grade 10,000 Gu royal talent Gu affinity. You have mastered the inheritance of the 10,000 Gu royal family. The 10,000 Gu Holy Scripture, Book 1. You have mastered the general knowledge of the inheritance of the 10,000 Gu King. You have grasped the secret inheritance of the 10,000 Gu King. Zhou Zhou looked at the bloodline notification and the corners of his mouth could not help but twitch a few times. Good God! A legendary tier advanced grade bloodline could not even increase his Chaos Human bloodline by a small level. It seemed that as the level of the Chaos Human's bloodline increased, its requirements for the bloodline level it absorbed became higher and higher. I can also obtain 2 high-level bloodlines that can be upgraded now. One is the Vampire bloodline. It can finally be upgraded to the 1st generation, the Cain-level bloodline, through constant fusion. Among the Cerulean planet lords of my star alliance, There is a vampire kingdom near the territory of the Gold Merchant Lord. If I can take down the vampire kingdom and constantly fuse with the bloodline, I might be able to fuse an existence close to the Cain-level bloodline. Even if it's only upgraded to the bloodline level of a vampire prince. It will be very beneficial to me. The second high-level bloodline is this 10,000 Gu race bloodline. Zhou muttered to himself. According to the bloodline inheritance of the myriad insect race that he had just accepted, there was also the bloodline of the 10,000 Gu god race above the bloodline of the high-level advanced grade true god tier. If he could obtain the bloodline of the 10,000 Gu god race, he would definitely be able to advance his chaos human bloodline. Zhou's goal was very clear. Spiritual Gu Kingdom. Zhou's eyes were cold. Since you have provoked me a few times, don't blame me for destroying your country and turning it into my bloodline power. With his current strength, it was naturally easy for him to destroy a spiritual Gu kingdom that had lost more than half of its heroes. After thinking for a while, he looked at the ability awakened by the king of all Gu. Race talent name, Gu King Poison Body. Talent level, Legendary tier advanced grade. Talent description. As a member of the king of all Gu, you are born good at controlling all kinds of Gu worms. Moreover, you can accommodate all kinds of Gu poison. Your physical fitness will increase slightly with every normal Gu poison you absorb. Your physical fitness and soul quality will increase greatly with every rare Gu poison you absorb. Every time you absorb a god-tier Gu poison, not only will your physical fitness and soul quality increase greatly, there is even a very small chance of obtaining additional talents. Zhou looked at the race talent in surprise. It felt a little similar to the chaos human bloodline. They were all top-notch talents that could assist in their own growth. Absorb the Gu poison. Zhou thought for a moment and suddenly thought of something. His eyes lit up. He waved his right hand and opened a world fissure. Then, he stretched out his right hand and took out a blood-colored worm. It was the death-cursed blood Gu that the heroes of the spiritual Gu kingdom had used to deal with him previously. At this moment, the little worm was already in a listless state. The lightning laws contained in Zhou's small world of lightning and dark clouds restrained it too much. It could last until now only in a listless state and not be directly weakened to death by the thunder law because it was too strong. If it were any other Gu, it would have died long ago. Zhou looked at the worm in his hand. As he watched, an unexpected situation happened. The Gu worm that was previously extremely hostile to Zhou and wanted to implant its death-cursed blood Gu into Zhou's body suddenly rubbed against Zhou's hand intimately after looking at him twice. It was as if he was wheedling with his family. Zhou was stunned. Then, he immediately looked at the newly awakened talent of the 10,000 Gu King race. Race talent name, Gu Affinity. Talent level, Legendary tier advanced grade. Talent description. As a member of the 10,000 Gu King race, a large number of Gu in the world have an extremely high initial favorable impression of you. You can even use this rare affinity and ability to command them and make unfamiliar Gu for your own use without signing a contract. As expected, this Gu affinity talent is working. Zhou muttered to himself. Then, he looked at the death-cursed blood Gu in his hand in surprise. My God, this difference in attitude. It would be even more exaggerated than when he used peace and prosperity to obtain the loyalty of the subjects. As expected of the 10,000 Gu King race. If that's the case? Zhou looked at the death-cursed blood Gu in his hand and his expression gradually turned serious. He floated it in the air with his mental strength. Facing this situation, the death-cursed blood Gu cooperated extremely well and did not resist at all. It just stayed obediently in the air and looked at Zhou with its innocent small eyes, as if it was curious about what he was going to do next. Zhou did not hesitate. He began to form seals with both hands at an unfamiliar speed according to the contents of the 10,000 Gu scripture, Book 1, that he had just obtained in his mind. Gu Control Sage Seal, Death Curse Seal. This was a sealing technique specially used to curse a Gu like the Death Curse Blood Gu. After using it to imprint the Death Curse Blood Gu, the Death Curse Blood Gu would obediently listen to the orders of the person who imprinted it as if it had signed a slave contract. It would not have any thoughts of resisting. It could be said that it completely belonged to the sealed artist from head to toe. Zhou set up the goo seal. A strange text emitting a blood-colored light floated in front of him. Zhou clapped his hands and saw the strange blood-colored text float towards the death curse blood goo. In the end, it entered the space between the death curse blood goo's eyebrows without any resistance and was branded in its soul. At this moment, Zhou and the death curse blood goo could sense each other and felt a bloodline connection with each other. At the same time, Zhou also felt that his physical fitness had increased greatly. Even though he did not break through, he was about to test the strength of his intermediate-grade physical body. Other than that, what surprised Zhou even more was that he realized that he had awakened a new talent. Talent name: Poison Attached, Death Curse Goo Poison. Talent level: Low-tier deity elementary grade. Talent description: You can attach the Death Curse Goo Poison to any life form and substance. There is a fixed 10% chance that the attached life form will be directly poisoned to death. When the attached substance comes into contact with other life forms, there is a fixed 1% chance that it will directly poison the enemy to death. Note: this talent is only effective on life forms below the low-tier deity elementary grade. Did I obtain an enchantment skill? Zhou was surprised. However, he could not help but frown slightly when he saw the note at the back. If it was only effective against life forms below the low-tier elementary grade, the effect of this talent would be greatly reduced. He suddenly thought of something and his expression changed slightly. Then, Zhou first took out an extraordinary tier sword from his king's treasure box. Then, he tried to attach poison to its surface. A black light flashed, and then the long sword had already begun to emit a faint black light. This was the sign of successful enchantment. However, Zhou suddenly looked pleasantly surprised after the enchantment was successful. This was because he realized that after enchanting once, the chaotic origin energy in his body had only been consumed by about 5%, which meant, if he made it with all his might, he could completely create 20 poison potions that had a chance of killing low-tier deities in a short period of time, or 20 weapons that had a chance of killing low-tier deities. From the looks of it, this talent was quite valuable. Zhou looked at the talent skill of the Death Curse Goo Poison and nodded slightly. This skill was not so useless from the number of times it could be used. Then, he looked at the other awakened abilities. Race talent name: Legendary tier Toxin Immunity. Talent level: Legendary tier Advanced grade. Talent description: As a member of the 10,000 Goo race, you are naturally immune to toxins below the legendary tier. This race talent was not bad. On the high continent, there were many plants and animals with toxin properties because of its vast area. With this talent, he would at least not be afraid of toxins below the god tier in the future. As for the other three awakened abilities, the 10,000 Goo Holy Scripture, Book 1, was the exclusive secret manual of the 10,000 Goo King race. It recorded all kinds of poison goo control techniques, and some common sense and profound knowledge when handling the goo. It could be said to be an encyclopedia of Goo Dao knowledge. However, the Goo Dao encyclopedia recorded in it was considered profound among the 10,000 Goo King race, but it was ordinary in the eyes of the 10,000 Goo Emperor race and even the 10,000 Goo God race. As for the subsequent content, only when the 10,000 Goo King body advanced to the 10,000 Goo Emperor body would it awaken the 10,000 Goo Holy Scripture, Book 2. Only when the 10,000 Goo Emperor body advanced to the 10,000 Goo Divine body would it awaken the 10,000 Goo Holy Scripture, Book 3. The third volume would be the time when the 10,000 Goo Holy Scripture was completely unsealed. The 10,000 Goo Divine body is too far away from me. I can give the 10,000 Goo Emperor body a try, Zhou thought. As for the general knowledge and secrets of the 10,000 Goo royal family, there was naturally no need to mention them. At this moment, his body suddenly trembled, and he felt that his bloodline seemed to have changed slightly. Zhou's expression changed slightly when he came back to his senses. What happened? Then he heaved a sigh of relief. This was because he realized that his Chaos human bloodline had optimized the original spirit talent of the original spirit race. He examined it. After being optimized by the Chaos human bloodline, in future, he could choose not to send the small world in his body into the myriad worlds and become one of them if he died. Instead, He chose to continue storing it in his corpse and continue the operation of the world in his body. Zhou was a little confused. What's the use of this? He thought for a while but had no clue, so he stopped thinking about it. After that, he thought for a moment and realized that there was nothing else. He stood up and left the intermediate grade Lord's paradise to come to the Lord shop. When he arrived, he realized that Zhou Qingmin had been waiting for a long time. He was sitting in front of the television, holding the controller and looking forward to it. His eyes lit up when he saw Zhou. "You're finally here. I've been waiting for you for a long time." Zhou Qingmin stood up with a smile and pulled Zhou to sit on the small horse Zap beside him. Then, he did not hand him the controller immediately. Instead, he placed a small table beside their horse Zap. There were all kinds of snacks on the small table. Spicy slices, marshmallows, crispy palm, rice crackers. Zhou looked at the snacks with a strange expression. "Little old man, you've exposed your age." He didn't think too much about it and casually asked, "What game are you playing today? Take your pick," Zhou Qingmin said with a smile. Then, he took out a large number of gaming cards from the cabinet under the television. Ninja Turtle series, Squirrel Combat series, Ninja Cat, Green Army, Mushroom Top, Ice Crack. All kinds of classic small games were inside. "Where did you get these game cards?" Zhou was a little surprised to see so many game cards. "I went to the Cerulean planet to get it," Zhou Qingmin said casually. Then, he suddenly reacted and immediately widened his eyes and shut his mouth. Zhou looked shocked. "Cerulean planet? You've been to the Cerulean planet?" He immediately stood up excitedly. Even though the Cerulean planet was not Earth, he had also stayed on this Cerulean planet that was very similar to Earth for many years. He still had some feelings for it. Therefore, he really wanted to know how the Cerulean planet was doing. "Why are you excited? Why are you excited? Sit down. Let's continue playing the game." Zhou Qingmin wanted to bluff his way through. However, Zhou was not so easy to fool. "You're back on the Cerulean planet. How's the Cerulean planet doing now? Can you bring me back to the Cerulean planet with you? Can we still return to the Cerulean planet in the future?" Zhou asked one after another. A look of helplessness flashed across Zhou Qingmin's face. "Who should I ask if you ask me?" he said. "You must know something." Zhou was not sure if what he said was true, but he looked very certain on the surface. "I don't know." "You do." "I really don't know." Zhou. He looked at him and thought for a moment. He gritted his teeth and said, "If you tell me about the Cerulean planet, I'll play games with you for the next 3 days." Zhou Qingmin's eyes lit up slightly. Then he pretended to be helpless. "I really don't know. 5 days. No matter how much you ask, I don't know. Why would I lie to you? 10 days. 14 days. 2 weeks. Zhou Qingmin suddenly said. "Deal." Joy appeared on Zhou's face. With his current physical strength, it was not a problem for him not to sleep for the rest of his life. The reason why he still maintained his habit of sleeping every day was because this body's habit was difficult to change. In addition, there was the scarlet fog at night, so it was not easy for him to go out and fight. Since he could not do anything, he naturally followed his habits and went to sleep. Now that he could obtain such important information at such an insignificant price, he was naturally very happy. Seeing this, Zhou Qingmin sighed and said, "Actually, you don't have to miss your hometown too much. As long as you stay alive, you will have a chance to return in the future." "Then how's the situation on the Cerulean planet now?" Zhou asked. "The Cerulean planet is currently in a state of time standstill. There are also some old people and children. These old people and children were not chosen to become lords because they did not have the conditions to participate in the Lord of all Races contest. Currently, they're in a time standstill like the Cerulean planet. They'll be fine." Zhou Qingmin hesitated for a moment before saying, "There will be a chance to return to the Cerulean planet in the future? What kind of opportunity?" Zhou nodded and asked curiously, "I don't know about that either. I just know that you have a chance to return to the Cerulean planet. As for what opportunity it is, you have to ask the Supreme Will," Zhou Qingmin said. Zhou did not hesitate and asked the Supreme Will, which did not reply. The Supreme Will didn't reply to me. Zhou said helplessly. I can tell you that there's something fishy about the future. Zhou Chengmin pursed his lips. Zhou scratched his head helplessly. How do you know these things? Zhou thought for a moment and asked again. I'm a companion life form of the mythical tier. The only Lord talent after all. I'm also a worker under the Supreme Will. Isn't it normal for me to know some inside information? Zhou Chengmin said calmly. Zhou was speechless and envious. What an insider. Is there anything else you can tell me? Zhou asked again. That's it. I'm going to be punished just by telling you this. Don't think I'll tell you more. Zhou Chengmin shook his head firmly. Zhou could not help but ask a few more times. However, seeing that the other party was really tight-lipped and could not get any information, he had no choice but to give up asking. He sat down, picked up the controller, and began to play games with Zhou Chengmin. The next morning, Zhou looked at the words clear, displayed on the television in front of him, and smiled. Then he looked at Zhou Chengmin. Old Zhou, do you have any good goods today? He asked expectantly. This depends on the mood of the Supreme Will. But there should be some, right? Zhou Chengmin coughed twice. Then he stood up and walked to the counter. He took out 3 silver boxes and placed them on the table. Then he opened them one by one. To Zhou's surprise, there was a cultivation importation jade slip in all 3 boxes. He naturally knew about this. His Chaos Origin manual came from a cultivation importation jade slip given to him by Qi Shantian. Don't tell me these 3 goods all come from Qi Shantian? Zhou guessed in his heart. Then he looked at them one by one. In the end, he was a little surprised that these 3 cultivation imparting jade slips were really from Qi Shantian. The first cultivation importation jade slip recorded Qi Shantian's cultivation technique. The Epic Tier Advanced Grades Myriad Sword Immortal Scripture. The third cultivation imparting jade slip recorded Qi Shantian's second strongest sword array. The Epic Tier Advanced Grade Great 5 Elements Sword Array. Zhou's eyes lit up as he looked at the 3 cultivation importation jade slips. Even though they were all only Epic Tier goods, he did not underestimate these 3 goods. One had to know that Qi Shantian had relied on these 3 goods to kill a true Immortal Tier Elementary Grade existence as an Epic Tier Advanced Grade. Even though Qi Shantian's Heavenly Sword Immortal Body played an important role, it could not erase the effects of the content recorded in the 3 cultivation impartation jade slips. And most importantly, he saw that at the end of the 3 goods, it was marked that these 3 goods could be used by others, which meant he could completely use these 3 goods to create another sword god. How many mist cores do these 3 goods cost? Zhou thought for a moment and asked. The strength imparting jade slip of the Sword Immortal Manual is worth 1,000 Epic Tier Mist Cores and 1,000 Epic Tier Territory Tokens. The strength imparting jade slip of the Myriad Sword Immortal Formation is worth 300 Epic Tier Mist Cores and 300 Epic Tier Territory Tokens. The Great 5 Elements Sword Array's strength imparting jade slip is worth 100 Epic Tier Mist Cores and 100 Epic Tier Territory Tokens. Zhou Chengmin said. Why is it so expensive? Zhou was shocked. This price was even more expensive than some legendary tier items. Zhou Chengmin smiled and did not say anything. Zhou looked at him twice and shifted his gaze guiltily. It seemed that Zhou Chengmin also knew the true value of these 3 goods. He took out 280 legendary tier mist cores and handed them to the other party without saying anything else. This small amount of money was naturally nothing to him, who had just obtained more than 10,000 legendary tier mist cores. Then, Zhou did not stay any longer. After leaving, he sent someone to call Qi Shantian over. Qi Shantian came over. Greetings, Your Majesty. Qi Shantian carried the 5-colored immortal sword on his back and said respectfully to Zhou. Zhou nodded and handed the 3 goods he had just bought to the other party. Qi Shantian was shocked when he saw the 3 goods. The content recorded in these 3 cultivation impartation jade slips could be considered a sect-guarding cultivation technique even in their Myriad Sword Immortal sect. This was because even though they were epic tier cultivation techniques and sword arrays on the surface, They were in fact the higher-level corresponding secret manuals and sword formations of the Immortal Technique Pavilion of the Myriad Sword Immortal Sect. The Myriad Sword Immortal Sect had never easily taught an immortal art inheritance of this level to outsiders. Even he, who was peerlessly talented, was bestowed with such an immortal technique after cultivating in the Myriad Sword Immortal Sect for many years and making many contributions. How did His Majesty obtain it? Don't care where they come from. Don't worry. They're definitely innocent. Zhou glanced at Qi Shentian and guessed what he was thinking. After casually explaining, he asked, "After this king obtained them, I remembered that you know how to use them the best in our kingdom. That's why I asked you to come. I want to ask you, who do you think is most suitable to cultivate these 3 cultivation techniques in our kingdom?" Qi Shentian fell into deep thought. "I think that other than Xiao Xian, there is definitely no one else with the highest cultivation aptitude in our kingdom who is qualified to cultivate the 3 cultivation techniques and sword formation," he said seriously. Zhou nodded. Qi Shuantian's words were exactly what he wanted. Xiao Xian was a talent with the potential of a true God-tier advanced grade. Later on, after being enhanced by the Sun Moon Star Sword, his aptitude jumped to the Master God-tier advanced grade and reached the limit of the world. According to the immortal world, Xiao Xian's aptitude had already reached the Saint tier. In addition, there was a comprehensive martial arts and immortal Dao talent like the immortal martial sacred body among his 5 great talents. Qi Shentian was definitely right. There are follow-ups to these 3 cultivation techniques in the Myriad Sword Immortal Sect, right? Zhou suddenly asked. "Yes. Can you still contact your sect now? What do you think of your sect? Especially in terms of nurturing disciples." Qi Shentian knew what Zhou meant. His expression changed and he said solemnly, "I have a special voice transmission talisman that can contact the sect. In addition, the Myriad Sword Immortal Sect I'm from is one of the top righteous immortal sects in the entire immortal world. It's definitely not inferior to the other sects in terms of nurturing disciples." Zhou nodded. "I should have a chance to go to your immortal world in the future, right?" "Of course," Qi Shentian said seriously. "Your Majesty, the territory of the lords of all races is definitely not limited to just one high continent. According to the divination master in my sect, the high continent will be at most a main battlefield in the future, but the other realms will also be very important battlefields in the future. The myriad worlds. No world can escape. This is also one of the reasons why I came out to train and am willing to become His Majesty's subordinate." Zhou nodded thoughtfully. Would the other realms also become the battlefield of the lords? Then he had to prepare early. "You will be in charge of teaching Xiao Xian in the future. I won't mistreat you in terms of military merits. If there's a chance in the future, let's see if I can introduce Xiao Xian to your Myriad Sword Immortal Sect through your connections." Zhou thought for a moment and said, "Yes, Your Majesty." Qi Shentian immediately accepted the order. Zhou nodded. Then, Qi Shentian left after chatting for a while. Seeing this, Zhou was about to walk out of his residence and go to the gate of summoning to summon the subjects when Atli suddenly came over and said that Zhang Yuanqi wanted to see him. Zhou did not think too much about it and asked Zhang Yuanqi to come over. "Your Majesty, what a joyous occasion," Zhang Yuanqi said happily as soon as he arrived. "What joyous occasion?" Zhou was a little surprised. A large group of refugees who wanted to join the Blazing Sun Kingdom arrived outside the city gate just now. I saw their numbers. It's about 5 million. Most importantly, more than 70% of them are female refugees. Zhang Yuanqi said excitedly. Zhou gasped slightly. Good God! There were a total of 5 million refugees. Moreover, more than 70% of them were female refugees. This was too exaggerated. Was beauty really so important? Zhou was a little confused. However, this was a good thing, and it was foreseeable. Then there would definitely be more and more refugees coming to join the Blazing Sun Kingdom in the future, since it was only the second day after the beautifying effect spread, and the number of refugees who came had increased from 1 million to 5 million. Treat them well. Let's strive to make these refugees subjects of the blazing sun kingdom in the smoothest and fastest way. And from today onwards, send troops to the path where the refugees have to pass and arrange for sentries and protective measures. Try not to let anything happen to them while maintaining order among them. Let them feel the care and concern our blazing sun kingdom gives them before they become subjects of the blazing sun kingdom. Your Majesty is wise, Zhang Yuanqi said with a smile. Actually, he had also thought of this. Originally, he wanted to mention it too, but since His Majesty had thought of it, he naturally would not do such a stupid thing to compete for glory with His Majesty. I'll leave the matter of accepting subjects to you in the future, Zhou Zhou said seriously. I will do my best, Zhang Yuanqi said solemnly. Zhou Zhou nodded. After that, the two of them chatted for a while before Zhang Yuanqi left. There were too many of these 5 million refugees. He had to go over and take charge of the situation. Zhou Zhou looked at Zhang Yuanqi's back view and smiled. With these 6 million new subjects, the atmosphere in his territory finally eased. In fact, he had clearly felt it yesterday. With the million new refugees, his territory was clearly less impetuous. The smiles on every subject's faces increased. Even the average loyalty of the subjects had clearly increased. He opened the Lord Talent information of peace and prosperity. Lord Talent, peace and prosperity, Diamond Tier, peace and prosperity. Same as before. Specific Talent Effect 1. Same as before. Specific Talent Effect 2. Same as before. Specific Talent Effect 3. Same as before. Specific Talent Effect 4. Same as before. Specific Talent Effect 5. When the number of subjects with loyalty of 90 points and above in the territory reaches 1 million, peace and prosperity will advance to the extraordinary tier Lord Talent, Peaceful Times. Current number of people, 961, 299/1, 000, 000, 960,000 already? Zhou Zhou nodded in satisfaction. At this rate of growth, he would probably be able to achieve it the day after tomorrow. When the time comes, he could directly freeload an extraordinary tier Lord Talent. Just thinking about it made him feel good. Then he left and walked towards the Gate of Summoning. In front of the Gate of Summoning, Zhou Zhou looked at the building in front of him. Prompt. Do you want to summon immediately? Yes. The next second, the Gate of Summoning suddenly lit up with a bright white light. Then, the 4,000 new subjects walked out of the Gate of Summoning. Greetings, my lord. X4, 000, all the new subjects said respectfully. Welcome to the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Zhou Zhou smiled. Then, he asked all the professionals to stand up and realized that he had summoned 241 professionals this time. There were 35 more professionals than usual. Then, he began to check the information of these professional subjects. Among the 241 professional subjects were 1 Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Demon Hunter, 1 Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Martial Master, 2 Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Blacksmiths, 1 Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Tailor, and 1 Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Gardener. The rest were Diamond Tier Elementary Grade and below life professionals and combat professionals. Demon Hunter? Zhou Zhou raised his eyebrows. It had been a long time since he had seen new professionals. He looked at the new subject. This person was tall and had a vigorous face. His calm eyes carried a hint of scarlet that was deeply hidden. He held a demon saber in his hand and carried a demon bow on his back. There were bottles and jars hanging from his waist. He looked different from a mortal. Zhou Zhou opened his attribute information. Subject, Girton. Territory, Blazing Sun Kingdom. Combat class name, Demon Hunter. Profession class, Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade. Ability overview. The young Girton resolved to become a demon hunter when he grew up after his parents died at the hands of the abyssal demons because of a demon disaster. After a hard search, Girton found the legendary demon hunter master, Geralt, and successfully acknowledged him as his master. Later on, Girton disappeared. While Girton was looking for his teacher, he also kept going to the abyss to hunt abyssal demons. Until one day, He received a summon from the Lord, so he came to the Blazing Sun Kingdom and became a subject of the Blazing Sun Kingdom. Skills: Talent, Demon Sense. Talent, Bloodseeker Blood. Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Demon Arms. Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Demon Slaying Arrow. Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Bloodseeker Armor. Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Bloodseeker Shapeshift. Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Lithe of Spirit Cat. Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Silent Stealth. Diamond Tier Intermediate Grade Arms Repair. Loyalty 85. Potential. Epic Tier Advanced Grade. Zhou looked at the attribute panel and nodded slightly. Not bad. However, it was not very outstanding. Zhou's standards were also higher now. If he saw this interface when he first came to the High Continent, he would definitely be shocked. Nowadays, however, he felt that it was very ordinary. Nonetheless, he was still quite interested in the profession of demon hunter. Therefore, he started chatting with Gerton. During the conversation, Zhou gradually learned the origins of the demon hunter profession. Demon hunters were a group of life forms who regarded demons as mortal enemies. At the same time, in order to obtain power to destroy the demons and fuse with the demon bloodline to obtain demon abilities and walk the path of an extraordinary tier. The potential of these demon hunters was based on the fusion of the demon bloodline. The stronger the fused demon bloodline, the higher the potential and future achievement. The weaker the fused demon bloodline, the lower the potential and the lower the achievement. This extraordinary tier class that did not need a class change certificate or long-term training to obtain extraordinary tier power looked good. But in fact, there were huge hidden dangers. Firstly, the lifespan of every demon hunter was extremely short. In this extraordinary tier world, the strongest demon hunter would not even live to be 50 years old. Secondly, since demon hunters obtained power by fusing with the demon bloodline, it was very easy for them to be bewitched by the unholy power in the demon bloodline during their growth, causing them to lose their will and become demons that only knew how to kill. Finally, it was the problem of the demon bloodline deciding the level of achievement. Could be said that the demon hunter was an extraordinary tier class with a very high upper limit and took shape very quickly, but it also had many flaws. After Zhou understood the information of this profession, he could not help but fall into deep thought.